Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Zoe's Bookcase. Today is my first video on BookTube, so I put it under the BookTube Newbie tag, but I thought it would maybe be fun instead of answering kind of the list of questions that it comes with. Instead, me walking you through some books that kind of shaped my reading journey and kind of has led me to starting this BookTube channel. I've been lurking on BookTube for many years, and so I'm very excited to be joining. And yeah, I'm just really excited. So, a few things about me. I'm married to the love of my life, Austin, and I love him so dearly. He's truly been a blessing from God. And we've been married about 3 years. We have a cute, sweet little boy who is just the most precious gift you could imagine. And we have another little boy on the way, so we're really excited to have two little sweet boys that are crazy and running around. It's going to be really exciting. And yeah, I'm a Christian and I love to talk about theology and books. It's two of my favorite things to talk about. And I figured that I've yapped my family's year off enough about my love for books and theology. So I thought I would come and maybe make a space where we can yap and talk about it, just together. And so, yeah, that's kind of who I am and what I want this channel to kind of be, just kind of talking about, yeah, books and Jesus, which are my two favorite things in the world besides my family. Anyway, so some books that got me started reading when I was a kid. I was always a bookworm when I was a kid. I was reading everywhere. It's just something that I just gravitated towards. And so I really enjoyed the Magic Treehouse series by Mary Pope Osborne. I loved that series. It was just so good. And then I also really enjoyed Dork Diaries. I read all those. Those were just my little, brain off time. It was good. I loved it. It's just silly fun. Um, and then another book series I really enjoyed was the Judy B. Jones series. I remember vividly reading that as a kid and enjoying kind of her antics and the things going on. Um, and then another one I really enjoyed was A Secret Garden. I really, really liked that book. I read it so many times as a kid. It was kind of, the first, you know, more serious book I read, and I really loved it. I thought it was really well done. But yeah, I was always reading, and these were just kind of the books that I most vividly remember reading as a kid. But then when I got into fifth grade, I encountered a book that really changed my life, and that was The Giver by Lois Lerley. That book made me really passionate about reading and books in general and kind of how they could affect the way that you think and they could kind of change your life. And so after I read that book, I started to really wonder if maybe I could be a writer or an English teacher or a librarian or something to do with books in my future. And so that really sparked my passion to one day I really wanted to do something book related, as an adult. And so, that kind of, now here we are today. I'm very excited. Um, it's really exciting to kind of do that because it's been something that I've been working on for years. I've been an inspiring author for many, many, many years. Since I was a kid, I've been writing stories and making my own books. And I'm actually about 14,000 words into a first draft of my most recent manuscript. And I'm really excited about it, and I'm hoping to have the draft done by this year. So if you guys want, I can keep you updated about that kind of happening behind the scenes. But I don't want to share too much about it because it's still pretty early on. And yeah, um, another book that really changed me from liking to read as entertainment to kind of thinking like deeper about books and kind of it being a more of a passion was also the Warrior Cat series. This kind of sparked my love for fantasy books. This is not the first book I ever read, but it's the only one I own. There's just so many, and so I only ended up with this one so far. But I would like to get some more for my sons when they grow older. But yeah, this series really sparked my love for fantasy, and it was just really good. And I've read almost all of them. I kind of tapered off in the later seasons. It got a little exhausting, but I've read a majority of these books and I've really enjoyed them. Another book series that I think has shaped pretty much any middle schooler's kind of walk in reading is The Hunger Games. I own the whole set. This is probably the most beautiful book that I own. Maybe. I have some other ones that are pretty, and I'm not the biggest fan of sprayed edges, but I think that they did a pretty good job on these ones. I just don't like the, the blank ones. They don't look pretty. But yeah, so I own the whole Hunger Games series, and I really enjoyed it as a kid. And actually, my favorite book out of the whole series is The Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes, which I know is kind of a weird pick, and it's not a lot of people's favorite, but I really enjoyed the villain POV, and I just enjoyed how fun it was. Like, just seeing the story through the villain and knowing the future. It just, I don't know, I just had a good time, and so it's actually my favorite of the Hunger Games books. Yeah. Another book that kind of inspired my love for reading in kind of the middle school, high school area was The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This book kind of inspired my love for historical fiction, which had been a genre that I had never really read until I picked it up. And I picked it up for a school project, and I really enjoyed it. And so I own the copy today. I think it's very beautiful book about hope in a time where hope just seems lost, and it was really good. I really like the main character, whose name is currently blanking from my mind, but I really enjoyed it. Another book series I really enjoyed in middle school was Cinder by Marissa Mayer. And the whole series, I enjoyed the whole series. It's a 4-book series with a few spin-off novels. And it was really good. I enjoyed it because I'm a suckler for a Disney princess retelling. I just think that they're so fun. And so this was just epic, and I enjoyed it thoroughly because the plot, you really didn't know what was going on, because you thought it was going to go somewhere, and then it didn't go that way, and it went somewhere completely different. And also just look at how beautiful this book is. It's just gorgeous, you know. So I absolutely love it. I hope to get the rest of the series one day, because right now I only have this one. But yeah. And some other ones that I really loved as a kind of a middle schooler was the Divergent series. I was a suckler for it. I read it many times and enjoyed it. It was kind of my comfort read for a while. I know it's not very well written, but I enjoyed it as a middle schooler. And also The Selection by Kyra Cass. I enjoyed that one a lot. But my favorite was actually The Siren by Kyra Cass, which is a standalone novel that she wrote. And I actually enjoyed that book way more than any of her other books, even the ones that she's come out with more recently. That book, I just thought it was so creative, and the love story was really cute. I don't know, I just really liked it. And so that was actually my favorite book by her. I don't know how many people have really read that one. It's not as popular as The Selection, but it was really good. I liked it. Anyway, so after kind of high school, I kind of fell into this reading slump for a couple years where I didn't really read. And that was really new for me because I had read so many books every year. I went through like 3 to 4 novels a week almost my entire life. And so it was kind of weird to get to a point where I wasn't really reading. And during that time, I rediscovered Jesus in a way that I had never known him before. And I developed this deep love for him and this deep relationship for him that I had never experienced. And so I really started to dig into the Bible, which I know it's going to sound cheesy, but the Bible, this is my Bible, and it is definitely my favorite book of all time. This is a 10-star read out of 5 stars. I highly, highly recommend it. This is a King James version because I like to read primarily the version that's closest to the original translation. I feel like a lot gets lost when you start kind of trying to retranslate something that from its original language. So I like that King James is as close to the original translation as you possibly can get. And so, but yeah, I really started to dig into the Bible more. And honestly, reading the Bible inspired me to read more books again. And I started to rediscover my love for reading as I grew closer to the Lord. And I kind of got out of some of the situations that had kind of caused my reading slump and kind of caused me to kind of fall away from a lot of things that I loved as a child. And yeah, now the last 2 years, I've really started to read again and I've been really loving it. And I've read a lot of really good books these last 2 years. And those are kind of the books I want to talk about next. Um, so one of the books that really got me out of my reading slump was Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. I really enjoy Francine River books. I've read a few of them. I haven't read all of them, but I've read quite a few of them. And that one is probably my favorite by her. I think it was just so beautiful, and the love story was just so full of hope, and you just really found yourself rooting for the couple, and it was just really sweet. And the faith content was really good. Another book that was a 5-star read for sure, and I highly recommend, is The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp by Sarah Bronsvoid. That book is just so beautiful. It's heart-wrenching, but just beautiful. And it just spoke to me on so many levels. I listened to the audiobook while I was at work, and it was just, oh, it was beautiful. I cried. I really did, and it was just amazing, and I highly recommend it. Another book that I've read pretty recently was This Present Darkness by Frank Peretti. Oh, and that was just so good. It just really opens your eyes to spiritual warfare and the importance of prayer and the importance of a church community, and I just thought it was just so beautifully done, because spiritual warfare is something that a lot of Christians shy away from. And so I love reading books kind of on spiritual warfare, because I think that they just do such a great job of highlighting the importance of our mission on this earth, which is to spread the love of Jesus. Because, there's a lot of people that the enemy thinks that he's won, but he hasn't won yet, and he will never win. And so I just think that that book was just so good, and it really made you want to just give it your all when it comes to witnessing and spreading the word. And so it's a very good book, and I highly recommend it. Another good book that was kind of more lighthearted that I really enjoyed was Twice Sold Tales by, I'm gonna put it up because I don't know how to say her name and I don't want to butcher it, but it was just so cute and so sweet. My favorite character was just the sweetest little boy, and I really enjoyed it. It was just such a lighthearted, fun read with some decent faith content. Anyway, so another book series I just read more recently that I really enjoyed was this book series by Victoria McCombs, and the first one is The Mortal Queens, and then it's Lethal Kings. And I really enjoyed this because as a child, I really liked fantasy books on like fairies and fae and the mythical creatures like unicorns and Pegasus, stuff like that. Fairies. I already said fairies, my bad. And so it was really fun to find a clean Christian duology on fae, because I thought it was just really fun. Because a lot of times fae books are pretty, they're not clean. And so it was really great to, sit down and be able to read a clean series on something that I find kind of interesting. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it has a beautiful allegory of Christianity in there that's just really beautiful, and how salvation kind of works, and it just was really good. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. It was a very beautiful book series. And another one I really enjoyed was The Wonderland Trials by Sarah Ella. It's a duology again, and it's a retelling of obviously Alice in Wonderland. And again, I'm a suckler for a Disney princess retelling, and I really enjoyed it. It was really well done. I enjoyed the fact that it kind of was themed around Christians living in a world that they didn't belong in. And it was just really fun, and it was magical, and it was silly, and it was serious, and yeah, it was fun. I highly recommend it. It was a good read. Some other ones I've read recently is the Prison Healer series by Lynette Noni. That one was good. I liked that the magic wasn't like witchy and spelled. Like I don't like the spells and like the witches or the warlocks, or you know, casting spells or like casting circles and just stuff like that. So I appreciated that it didn't go down that route and that it was more just like powers, like superpowers. And so that was really fun, and I liked how serious it was, and it was a fun read. My husband really enjoyed that series. And then I've also recently read The Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis. I really enjoyed that. Again, I like a good book on spiritual warfare, and so reading kind of letters back and forth between demons was really interesting, and I enjoyed it very thoroughly. And I loved how even though it was messages between demons, you saw this deep theme of hope. And I just think that he did a great job. But yeah, so those are kind of a few books that I've read throughout my life that have kind of shaped not only my reading taste, but kind of my reading journey, and have kind of inspired me to start this channel, because these are kind of books that I really enjoyed, or books that I have a lot to say about. And so I kind of wanted a place to do that. And so I hope you guys stick around. If there's any other BookTube creators, new or not, drop a comment. I'd love to follow you. And if there's any other people, if you have any books that you recommend or anything, just drop a comment, and I can't wait to get to know everybody. And yeah, so thanks for coming along, and I hope you guys have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye!